Welcome to another episode of Out of Spec Dave, where today I had this idea. There are so many different ways to charge this beast back here that I started counting them up. And I counted to 10, and I think there are even maybe more than that. I think I'm gonna go from a 110 outlet all the way up to a Tesla Supercharger, and maybe having a little bit of a special event there with the CCS Combo 1 adapter over at an EA station as well. So let's get into it, folks, and thanks again for joining another episode of Out of Spec Dave. All right, so here I am in my garage. I've got my little traveling companion over here, Bailey, helping me out, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be experimenting with the different ways with which you can actually charge a Tesla, going from the slowest way possible all the way to perhaps the fastest way possible. And the fastest may actually be an interesting one to check out, because it may not be as obvious. So let's get going here. I've got a number of different cables here in my garage, including my brand new level 2 Autel charger that I just put in. And you know, I'm excited to take you through some of the different options as to the way to charge. So let's first start off by talking about everything that is in my house here is alternating current. And what that means is, as opposed to direct current, where the voltage is always flowing in the same direction, alternating current, the actual current and the voltage changes direction from positive to negative, then negative to positive, and it constantly is going back and forth. But in my house here, this is what I have. I have AC. And one of the other things is that AC cannot be stored in a battery. So when I plug in an AC power source to my Tesla over here, what ends up happening is there is a converter within this car. So when you put AC into the vehicle, it actually has to be converted to DC before it can be stored in this giant battery underneath this whole car. So the slowest way to charge a car is using a 120 volt typical American wall socket. And this will charge, I believe, at, I don't really know. Well, we're going to plug it in and see. And this is the Tesla, what is now being called the North America Charging Standard, or NACS. Basically, it's a Tesla connector, and that's what goes into the car. So let's plug this in. I've actually got two of these. I've got one already plugged in to the wall over there, and let's go ahead and plug this in. Now, one of the things when I bought my Model S 100D from that Infinity dealer down in Florida, they didn't include a Tesla charger, you know, like the actual little box here with the way to plug it in. So I said, please send me one. And they did. Look what they sent me. They sent me what is really called the CCS2 standard. And this has got a one, I don't even know, this is the European standard. I don't really know the voltage on that. But, you know, that's kind of an interesting thing that they sent that to me. If you're in Europe, you know what this is. And if you're in Europe, this is why you can actually go to a Tesla supercharger if you've got a non-Tesla car. I'm not sure if it's all Tesla superchargers, but this is the CCS, Charging Combo Standard 2, that's on, you know, a Porsche Taycan or an ID4. And Tesla uses the same connector in Europe as the CCS cars, whereas in the United States, you can see they use this NACS format here on the left-hand side. So, but kind of an interesting, if you're in Europe, that's a second way to actually charge your car you'll use that adapter for, in this case, this would be AC plugging it into a standard household outlet. Now, one of the things about this Tesla adapter is the way Tesla does this is they allow you to take this little connector, which is 120 volt, and you can buy, or years ago they used to include, a level 2 NEMA 1450 adapter that you could actually plug right into this wall or this socket right here. And so that when you come over to, let's say, an installed NEMA 1450 plug, you could literally just plug it right into there, that cable that is supplied by Tesla. And when you do that with one of these charging, this same exact charging cable, but instead of using this 120, let's say standard wall outlet, you use the NEMA 1450, you're going to get about 10 times faster charging speeds. It'll go from, let's say, on average, about 3 miles every hour to about 30 miles every hour, which is considerably faster. So that's a good thing. Bailey, are you getting all this? There's going to be a test at the end. Are you taking notes over there? Are you ready for the quiz? This is not a pop quiz. I'm going to be testing you for real, so you better listen. Okay, now, so for those of you who didn't see my install with the new hardwire, well, actually, this is not a hardwire. This is a J1772 Autel outlet, that power station, if you will. And what this will do is this will power my car upwards of, let's call it 30 miles every hour. This is a 40 amp unit that plugs into the NEMA 1450. But one of the things you'll see is at the end of this unit here that they give you, this is what's called a J1772. Again, this is all AC. We haven't talked about DC yet at all. Well, you can obviously see that this connector here is not going to fit into that connector there. So for $50, what you can do is you can buy, years ago they used to include this with a Tesla, but you can buy this J1772 to Tesla NACS adapter. And what you can do then is plug this J1772 handle into this adapter, and then I can plug my car, plug that this end right into my car. Now, why this is good is because my wife's GV60, the Genesis, that does accept this J1772 for AC charging. So interestingly enough, with this one charger now, we have the ability to charge both standards of cars because of this little adapter, which is priceless. I highly recommend you keep one at home if you have a level 2 with a J1772, and also keep one of these in your car, because if you ever end up at a level 2 station out in the wild away from your home, and that's all you can do is charge at a level 2, that's a J1772. If you don't have one of these and you have a Tesla, you're out of luck. You're not going to be charging. So buy 2 of these, keep one in the car and keep one at home on the shelf. So I'll just keep mine right here for now, and that'll be good. Well, actually, I'm going to plug it in, and then we're going to test how fast my car is charging with this level 2 in terms of kilowatts. Okay, so I have my J1772 to Tesla adapter plugged into this the handle from my Autel level 2 charger, again AC. And what I want to do is I want to open up this charging port. There we go. You'll see the light blue. I'm going to plug this in. That should turn dark blue and then start to turn green, flash green. There we go. All right, so let's go in the car and see what kind of speeds we're getting here at a level 2. We were at level 1 before, and you can see that we are at, well, it's ramping up. 33, 34. Now I know when I plugged this into the GV60 the other day, it said I was getting 9.4 kilowatts, and this is a 10 kilowatt output level 2 charger, the Autel. Maybe it's set to 35 amps. It's possible. I don't know. Maybe there's something. Oh yeah, look at this right over here. Let's bring this up to 40 and see what happens. Now we're getting 40 of 40 and 8 kilowatts. And I'm pretty sure with the level 1 AC, it was only giving me, I think, 1.4, even though it wasn't even measured on the screen. It looks like it's pulling 8 kilowatts at 40 amps. Interesting. Well, look, that's still a heck of a lot faster than plugging it into a typical wall socket. So, pretty good. I wanted to stop off at some sort of level 2 chargers that are out in the public, and these are really good if you're staying overnight. To let's say a hotel, often they have them, or it may take 7, 8, 9 hours to charge your car if you're on a road trip. The thing that everyone talks about is that it's better to charge your car slower, and it's better to charge your car not DC fast charging it, irrespective of the speed, but it's better to charge your car AC, because that will it'll save your battery pack and elongate the life. At least that's what I'm told, or that's what I've heard. So if you can charge at a slower pace, that should be okay. Okay, so here I am at a Tesla. Now this is what's called a destination charger. This is a Tesla destination charger that is usually found at hotels. You can find these kinds of locations on PlugShare, or you can put them into the app. And basically what you want to do here is open up the charge port and plug in. And again, this is just pretty much the same kind of power output that you'll find at my house with my level 2. So you can see that this is charging right now. Let's go ahead and see how fast this is charging. All right. And it's ramping up. 33, 34. There you go. It's maxed out at 40. Yeah, so pretty much the same. This is basically what you'll find. I like to find these Tesla destination chargers when I'm staying overnight somewhere. You pull in with a low state of charge, you plug in, you let the car charge on AC. This is not a DC fast charger, and it takes, in this case, from 46% state of charge all the way up to my level of 80% here. It's saying 4 hours and 10 minutes. Now, if I were to flip this out to, let's just say 100%, you'll see that now went to 7 hours and 10 minutes. And one of the things that we like to do when we road trip is at these destination chargers. This happens to be a DoubleTree Hotel in Norwalk, Connecticut. If I was staying overnight here, I would actually plug in or start the charging so that it would hit 100% pretty much exactly when I'm ready to leave in the morning, because you don't want to leave the battery at 100% for very long. It's not a good thing for the battery to live at the high of the pack, whether it's close to 100, or at the low of the pack, down close to 0. But for daily driving, I tend to keep it at 80% state of charge max, and that's about it. So that's what we've got here. There's another thing that's going on, and what's interesting is this Tesla Model 3 that's parked next to me is actually plugged into a second electric vehicle charging station. . this is not uncommon to see this. This is a J1772, again, level 2, AC, where this particular Model 3 is, he's got his Sentry mode on and he's recording me, but I'm not touching his car. I'm just taking a little video. And you can see that he's got his adapter plugged in, and he's pulling probably the same amount of energy as I am over there on a Tesla destination charger. Again, AC, and you know, these are good. You'll find these types of places, you'll find them on the PlugShare app. And as long as you're carrying, as long as you've got this J1772 to Tesla or NACS adapter, then you could use this charging station. What's nice about this DoubleTree hotel is that they've got sort of for a non-Tesla car that wants to plug in overnight, that doesn't support the Tesla NACS, you can plug in here to a J1772. Or if you do have a Tesla, then you can plug in over here at the destination charger. So that's what this is all about here in terms of level 2 charging. Okay, so here we are at BMW of Darien, and one of the things you'll notice here is that there is a Chargepoint level 2 station here. Typically you'll need some sort of an authorization or an account to charge up on this. I was just going to show you, but wouldn't you know it, it says installation not complete, station not set up. So unfortunately I can't show you how to charge at this particular unit, but very similar to the station that we saw over at the DoubleTree Hotel. This is a level 2 AC, and normally what you'll do is you'll have some sort of a little card, sort of like this, like a little authorization card that you'll typically hold that right up there. Let's see. Yeah, I heard a click. Well, maybe it is working. Let's try this out. It says station not set up, but let's try it. All right, there we go. We've got it. Now, hold on one second. I got to put my adapter in there. All right, so I have my adapter in there. It still says station not set up, but let's see what happens if I plug this in. I hear it clicking. Ah, we're charging. There we go. We've got fake news here over at BMW of Darien. Let's see how fast this one is charging. All right, let's check this out. Oh boy, this is, all right, so let's raise this up. This says 30 amp. Oh, see, that's the maximum that this will do. This is not a 40 amp, so it's only putting out 4 kilowatts, which is half of what that other one would do. So not all AC charging is the same, folks. You can see it says 6 hours and 35 minutes to charge up to 80%, whereas if you go to 100% here, that will actually go 10 hours and 25 minutes. Yeah. So interesting. This is a 30 amp station. What I've got at my house is a level 2 40 amp, which I was pulling 9.4 into the Genesis GV60 the other day, and you saw 8 kilowatts. It's really the speed with which the energy is flowing out. The charge rate is what you want to talk about. When we move over to the DC fast chargers, as they call them, with Tesla, everyone talks about how many miles per hour are you getting, and I don't like to think of it that way. I like to think of it in terms of kilowatts, even though it's easier to think about things in terms of miles per hour. But that's what we have going on here, and interesting that this station here at Darien, BMW of Darien, says it's not working when it actually is. So, I don't know. There you have it. You know, I can't help myself. When I'm at the BMW dealership, you always got to see, and look at this. Just in case you weren't sure what this was, it's an i4. Obviously, this has got to be a demo model. I can't believe they would sell a car like that. But this is a BMW i4 electric car, great car actually. The iX is also an amazing vehicle, and this will charge using CCS, J1772. This is not able to charge at a Tesla Supercharger, at least not yet, because we don't have the adapter. But what a great vehicle this is, good looking. If you like the front end, very controversial front end. If we go like this and we look at the car, what a beauty, what a beauty. Oh, not so good. Now let's talk a little bit about DC fast charging. One of the things that you'll learn here is that not all DC fast chargers are the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drive over to a unit that is, quote, a DC fast charger that is only 24 kilowatts of output. And right now I'm getting 8 kilowatts here from my home in pure AC at 40 amps. So 24 kilowatts, I think it's a Stop and Shop over in Darien. The thing is super slow, and you know, it's funny, you think about the government putting in all this charging infrastructure. Let's hope that they don't put in 50 kilowatt stations, right? Because you talk about V3 stations, which can go up to 250 kilowatts, or at Electrify America that are capable of putting out 350 kilowatts of output. The key thing is you'll see that, and hopefully you'll learn today, it's a combination of what is the capability maximum that the charging station can output. But when you start going into DC fast charging, which actually what it does is it bypasses the converter, the onboard converter that's on the car, which has to take the AC energy from the house, the regular household energy, and convert that to DC so that it can actually be stored in the battery. When you go to a DC fast charger, what's happening is they have these giant converters that are outside of the actual dispensers of the energy. And what it's doing is it's putting DC power directly into your battery, and it's bypassing the onboard charger that's on the car. And it does it at different, the charger is capable of doing it up to a certain speed. And so the first one we're going to go to, it says it's a fast charger, and it definitely is dumping DC directly into the battery without having to use the onboard converter, but it's only at 24 kilowatts. And then we'll go to one that's 50 kilowatts, and then we'll go to one that's 150 kilowatts, then we'll go to one that's 250 kilowatts, and then we'll go to a 350 kilowatt, and we'll use a CCS Charging Combo 1 adapter, which I'm going to show you right here. I just recently got this. This is an adapter that will take the CCS combo, and what you'll see is, actually the way to look at this is this way. You have the J1772 connector, which is basically what I have here on my Autel, that I'm using that converter, the J1772 to Tesla converter or adapter. And it takes the CCS Combo 1 standard and it actually changes it over to the Tesla or the North America charging standard, NACS. So this will allow me to actually go and charge at any CCS or the Charging Combo standard dispenser, whether it's Electrify America or Chargepoint or EVGO. So stick with me. We're going to go take a road trip now and go try out different places. So here we are at the Goodwives Stop and Shop Charging Plaza. Interesting thing here in Darien, Connecticut, because the other Stop and Shop actually was torn down, and the 24 kilowatt Chargepoint station that I wanted to show you is gone. They're building some beautiful apartments over there. But this EVGO fast charging station, this is an interesting unit because it has, well, first of all, it's under maintenance, which is kind of interesting. But this has a ChaDeMo adapter. as well as a CCS that I would normally be able to plug my CCS combo charging adapter in, and I could charge here, except for the fact that this is actually, the unit is down. I could call them up. This is a 50 kilowatt, I believe. Look, I'm not unhappy that the 24 kilowatt charging station is gone, because that was a joke. They need to replace those, clearly. But at least you can see how this adapter actually will take that CCS handle here, and what I would do, I'm not going to plug it in there in just in case it gets stuck, because this thing is, we'll use this, there's another EVGO charging station where we're going to head over to next, which not only has one of these, that's both a CCS and a ChaDeMo. The ChaDeMo is the Japanese standard that's used primarily, the only car that's left on the road for the most part is the Nissan Leaf, which they're phasing that out. And the new Nissan Ariya is actually using the CCS charging combo standard 1. So goodbye ChaDeMo, that standard is dying. I don't even think that is a standard anymore, the one here on the left. But the CCS combo 1, that's gonna, you know, we're in a big debate right now with which is gonna be the standard in the country. There's Tesla, NACS, and CCS. If you haven't checked out the Out of Spec podcast that Kyle and I did discussing the new NACS charging standard, as well as also Kyle did another more of a deeper dive with Brandon Flash on that channel. You should check that out, because there's a lot going on right now of merging of these two standards. The thing about the Tesla is that we've got the best of both worlds, because I can go to any Tesla supercharging station and also any CCS charging station, as long as it works. The common theme here with these CCS stations, whether it's EA or EVGO or even Chargepoint, is they're often broken, which is it's a big frustration for all of us here with these cars. So let's head on over to the Ridgeway Plaza in Stamford, Connecticut, where we're going to find another one of these units. We're also going to find 75 kilowatt supercharger. Well, they're really called urban superchargers from Tesla. And there's also an EA station there with, I believe, 2 350s and 6 150 kilowatts. Then we're moving up into the big leagues, folks. So let's get into it. Okay, so finally, after multiple attempts, I got this EVGO charger to work. Now, the thing is that this is kind of an interesting unit. Even though it's 50 kilowatts, this is sort of a lesson in charging cables, because you've got your ChaDeMo adapter here, or ChaDeMo connector, which you know, you've got the ChaDeMo right here, which Tesla does sell a ChaDeMo to Tesla adapter, very similar to the CCS to Tesla adapter. However, that is a pretty expensive adapter. I bought one years ago, and I used it a couple of times, but then Kyle took it, so I don't have it anymore. The second connector this charging station has is the Tesla charging connector, but that one does not work, at least not here in Ridgeway at Stamford. So the third one is the CCS adapter, or the CCS connector, the combo, which using my adapter does work. You can see I'm charging. I just had to update my account with EVGO, and I had to call customer service to get a little help, but I am now charging at a whopping 38 kilowatts. So, all right, look, you know, it's not the fastest, but if you're off somewhere, and now I know EVGO's been doing a huge ad campaign on TV, at least on YouTube TV, and they're pushing their they're fast charging. I personally would not consider 50 kilowatts fast charging anymore. I mean, this is an old unit. It's nice it's still here. It's cheaper. It's only 31 cents a kilowatt hour or something like that. So it's definitely cheaper than, let's say, Tesla, which might be as much as 44 cents a kilowatt hour. Okay, so here we are at the Ridgeway Plaza, or Ridgeway charging stations. Let's plug into the Tesla Urban Supercharger. You'll notice that these are smaller units. The cabinets back there that convert the AC to the DC are smaller than the traditional larger cabinets. And let's plug in. So this again is using the North America charging standard, as we now call it, although I still call it Tesla. And all right, plug it in, and hopefully it's going to turn green here. Let's see. And we will check it out. All right, there we go. And you'll notice now that we're DC fast charging, it's actually showing not only the kilowatts going into the car, which you remember on the level 2 was 8. This is a 75 kilowatt maximum, and the car is actually calling for 62 kilowatts. But it does show it in terms of speed of miles per hour, which is, you know, it's a very relative term. Because you don't know what the temperature is. Now, I've been preconditioning the battery here for a while. It's 42 degrees out. It's pretty chilly. And this is only pulling 61 kilowatts. And then that somehow, in its algorithm, translates that into 254 miles per hour. So look, this is kind of stepping up the food chain. What's good about these urban superchargers is they don't charge too fast. It's probably a little better for your battery. But also there's a Stop and Shop over there, and you know, if you need an hour to charge, you know, you can do that. Whereas if you go over to the EA 350 and you have a, let's say, a Kona or a GV60, not a Kona, what am I talking about? A Kona. Kona's only charged at 77 kilowatts max. But if you have an Ioniq 5 or a GV60 or a Kia EV6, then you know, you're going to charge from 10 to 80% under perfect conditions in 18 minutes. And that's not enough time for me to shop and Stop and Shop. So I think these urban superchargers, they have their place. To me, these units are relatively underutilized here in Stamford. But let's unplug and go to the next charging station. All right, here's a little joke for all of you out there. This is what I love. We have a 350 being occupied by a Kia Niro. Does anybody know how fast this car can charge? This car can charge probably no faster than a Hyundai Kona, which is about 77 kilowatts max. But yet this person is on this 350 and he's pulling 60 kilowatts. Now, meanwhile, I wouldn't normally call someone out on this, but there's a 150 open right over there. And there were 2 others before as well. Well, anyway, I'm going to mind my own business and bite my tongue, whatever it is. I think it's just about education. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is plug into a 350 here, and we're going to use the CCS adapter to the Tesla, and we're going to check this out. So unfortunately, I'm not sure that this cable is going to reach my car though. So I'm probably going to have to wait for the Niro people to come back and move their car. All right, so with the Niro cleared out, folks came and just left. I didn't say anything to them. But anyway, I was able to move over. Here I am charging with my CCS Combo 1 adapter. And let's go in and see what I'm pulling here. Again, I'm not going to charge the car here. I just want to check out the speed with which I'm getting tonight. And just to kind of test this out, let's go ahead and see what we're doing. Now here we are pulling 94 kilowatts. I don't know, 97. We're at a 41% state of charge, and you'll remember that I was preconditioning the battery for quite a while. So let's see if this ramps up faster than 99 kilowatts, because that's not great. Now, one of the things that I've noticed on this car is that at roughly 31%, that's when I taper off on a V3, pulling a maximum of 250. So I don't expect to charge super fast here, but I would have expected, having preheated the battery, preconditioned the battery, I should say, I would have expected a little bit better performance than 100 kilowatts here. Yeah, I've seen much better than this. I've seen almost what did I see? 230, 240. And I know that there have been other tests done where we've seen greater than 250 kilowatts pulled from an EA 350. So, quite good in terms of, but this session, not so good. I couldn't get the 150 to activate. I tried using my credit card, my account, it just didn't go. So, but I think you get the idea. You can charge at an EA when it works. All right, so here we are at Greenwich, Connecticut, Merritt. These are some older stations, and these are what are called version 2s, or otherwise known as V2s. You'll see the thickness of this cable is much thicker than when we go over to the V3s. And I'm going to tell you a few things about this. I don't know if I backed up enough here. Hold on. Here, let's see. I did. All right. So I've plugged in. The thing about Tesla is great is you can pretty much one-hand it, and in general, they always work. So let's see. Maybe we need to see the green. There we go. We got the green. Now, one of the things you'll see here, oh boy, this is not good. Got to pick that up, put it in there. Oh boy, it's not sitting in that holster very well. But one of the things you'll see is that there are 4 stations here, and with the V2s, you'll see that there's one cabinet which is converting the AC to the DC for 2 of these stations. So if you're ever going to a V2, and on the screen in the Tesla, it'll tell you if it's a 150. Originally, back in the day, the original Tesla Superchargers were actually 50 kilowatts, and then they went up to, I think, 120s, and most of the V2s now are 150s. But what's interesting about these 150s, and why it's great to look for V3s, is because what happens is if you're on a cabinet, and the way these are marked is, let's say 4A and then 4B over there, what you're really doing is you're sharing that one cabinet in the back there on the right. So if someone were to come in here and charge, Tesla will force split. It's not a dynamic, you get more energy than the next guy if they're pulling at a lower state of charge or something like that. It'll actually force split the energy, and it'll send 75 kilowatts to each of the stations there. So you can see here at this V2, we're pulling 134 kilowatts, which is good. And I did put in this destination as I was driving over here from Stanford to Greenwich. And so we were preconditioning the battery. You'll notice there, Tesla will say 565 miles per hour. I mean, look, a lot of that depends. The real key is how much are you pulling in terms of kilowatts. And so this station is capable of putting out 150. We're at a relatively high state of charge, pulling at 55% state of charge, we're pulling 132. That's respectable. So, you know, with respect to the V2 here, it's doing its job. Worked great, just plugged it in, and no issues with that. There's three things about Tesla that are really good. One is the en route sort of planning. So if you want to go from here to, let's say, wherever, New York City, you just type it in, and then it will show you all of the different charging stations that are available, really anywhere. And when you hit on one of them, then you can see whether or not it's a, see, this one's a 72, this one over here, there's a 250. See, that's a version 3 right there, 10 stalls. It tells you 6 stalls are available. It tells you the cost itself, which is 46 cents a kilowatt hour. Let's see what the cost is over here where I'm at right now. 45 cents a kilowatt hour. What I like about this is no matter how fast you pull, you're paying for the energy that you're consuming. Some states do it a little bit differently and they charge you by the time. So look, you know, it's the en route planning that makes the Tesla very seamless. It's the battery preconditioning, which is great. And it's also the plug and charge, meaning you just pull up, you plug in, the car knows, or actually the car communicates through a protocol what the VIN is, it knows your credit card, it can charge you, it can do all that. Now the EVGO station that we were at earlier in Stanford, that's a super old one. You'll notice that they're doing a lot of advertising right now, EVGO, and they've got some of the best CCS charging stations out there, in addition to EA and also ChargePoint. A lot of controversy in the CCS world right now, but what I would say is that EVGO seems to be leading the charge with supporting, I forget what ISO standard it is, but plug and charge, even for a Tesla that's using the CCS adapter, which we used. So that makes it even more attractive to me. So if I'm using PlugShare to find a station, you won't find any CCS stations on this Tesla app. That you won't find, even though you do have the CCS adapter, or if you buy it for $250, which is what I did. But using PlugShare or the Electrify America app, you can find where the EA stations are and then go there. And again, that EVGO new feature of being able to actually do plug and charge is great. So en route planning as far as how to get from point A to point B, and it tells you where to stop and for how long and what state of charge you're going to leave. Awesome. It's getting better in some of the other brands, but Tesla, to me, as far as my knowledge, does the best job at that. The battery preconditioning again is great, and then also just the plug and charge, which is great as well. So let's head over to a V3, and then we'll call it a night because I'm getting tired here. Okay, so here we are at our final stop, the V3 in Darien, Connecticut, northbound on 95. You'll notice that with the version 3, which outputs up to 250 kilowatts, the thickness of this cable is much smaller. And it's very interesting that the better technology has a smaller cable. So the other thing to think about here with these V3s is that the cabinets that are over here, it's very loud here, these cabinets back in here, they're dedicated cabinets from a Tesla standpoint. So what ends up happening is none of these cars are having to force split or share the energy that they're consuming. So it's a really good thing to do this. Now, the one thing is that this car, today was not about how fast can this car charge. Today was about the different ways with which you can charge. And I'm hoping that I was able to give you a very good overview as to the number of different ways, whether it's AC charging level 1 or AC charging level 2, whether you're doing that at the home or if you're doing that out and about. You know, keep in mind that you want to keep that J1772 to Tesla adapter with you at all times. My advice is to actually buy 2. They're $50 each. Keep one in the car and then keep one near your level 2 charging station at home. That way, if you're ever out and about, like remember when I was at BMW of Darien, and you know, if I didn't have that J1772 adapter, I wouldn't have been able to charge. And then of course, the newest thing, hold on one second. And then of course, the newest thing is the ability to be able to charge using the CCS adapter, which is, where is that? Here it is. So again, I've shown this to you a number of times. This you can buy on the Tesla website for $250. I highly recommend it. Now here I am at a V3. I did battery preconditioning. I'm at a 61% state of charge, and I'm only pulling 115 kilowatts, which is not great. But it is cold out. It's 37 degrees, but I was preconditioning. You know, again, I think that the high state of charge, let's not even analyze the speed with which we're charging here. It's the number of different ways that we charge today. So anyway, I really appreciate you watching and sticking with me through this entire video. What I'm hoping is that you can see how many different ways there are to charge a Tesla. And I'm going to probably do the same thing with my wife's GV60. There aren't quite as many ways, and the reason for that is because there is not yet a Tesla adapter that will allow a CCS car to charge on a Tesla Supercharger. We're hoping it will come out. We thought it was going to come out last week with the North America Charging Standard, giving away the whole protocol. Tesla is basically encouraging manufacturers to embed their technology, what they're calling the North America Charging Standard, into both the chargers themselves as well as the cars. But for now, if you own a Tesla, you got the best of both worlds. You can charge AC, you can charge DC at Tesla superchargers, as well as CCS, whether it's ChargePoint, EVGO, Circle K, Electrify America. I mean, you've got it all. That's the thing that I'm really enjoying with this Tesla, is the optionality as to where I can charge. So listen, with that, we'll call this a video, and thanks again for watching another episode of Out of Spec Dave, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care now.